Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Self-love through freedom and connection. So feel free to connect to The Brave Never Fall on these social media platforms. If you find anything of value in this following podcast, hit that like button, subscribe and share, and support the brave and bold tribe growing one purposeful soul at a time. There are no coincidences in life. The strength you have is real. Each breath you take is a blessing. Don't give up, give more. Believe in yourself and trust yourself. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling balanced? Are you still journeying on an intentional, purposeful path? How are you feeling? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Clear your mind. Take a moment of silence for yourself right now in the moment. You are here now. How are you feeling? Having neutrality allows us to detach, analyze, and assess what we are focused on. Because when we're focused on something, that word focus means something. It means we are setting all our attention, what's in our mind, our heart, our body, and our soul, all on a particular point. And we're making whatever that person, place, or thing is a focal point, even for a moment. The ability to be able to not go to the extremes when dealing with this person, place, or thing is important. That's what separates people who don't have empathy from people who do. And the people who have extreme empathy to a fault, to the people who have literally no empathy to the point of misunderstanding and insulting someone through that lack of not being able to understand which is all coming from the lack to be able to detach and really analyze what is actually going on, not through what they believe is going on or what they have been told is going on, but what is actually going on through the eyes and ears of another, even if you agree or disagree. These things are called gray areas. And these gray areas are essential when you need to detach, when you need to take a step back and analyze and really dive into the problem that you're so focused on. If it's grabbed your attention, isn't it worth the time to say, I want to get this right? As right as possible, at least. Not through preconceived notions, not through playing devil's advocate, not through being judgmental, but with what is really going on to the best of our ability. What is this reality really trying to say to me? What am I really going through right now? What is this person really going through right now? And if you can stay in that gray area, that's where the balance comes into play for this skill. Neutrality, the state of not supporting or helping either side in a conflict or disagreement, an absence of decided views, expression, or strong feelings. The balance of the gray area. It can be quite a challenge in every aspect of life. Going to the extremes in any area often proves to breed obsession, loss of clarity, unsolicited judgmental traits, narcissism, egotism, bias, and misunderstanding. It leads to the unacceptance of what is not fully understood or who is not truly understood. Fear, anxiety, and paranoia can rise, all culminating in a pile of unnecessary stress and overcomplication of what otherwise would be far less chaotic in life. By leaning more towards simplicity, being centered and balanced in life allows us to see all. Without judgment or bias, it allows us to take the blinders off and start seeing in high resolution. It allows us to increase our overall understanding. That gray area of balance leads to empathy, patience, and understanding that greatly benefits not only ourselves, but also the ones closest to us. They can come to us for advice without fear of judgment or criticism, even if they know beforehand that we may or may not or will not see eye to eye with them or agree or disagree with them. They trust those who are balanced to hear them out fully, free of bias or preconceived notions, and not insult or talk down upon them. Those who can stay detached and focus on the issue at hand are those who are actively listening, and the ones who are listening to them will appreciate you more. You will become more valuable in the eyes and minds of others. Life is full of obstacles, peaks, valleys, mountains, and alleys. Those who are aware enough to take it all in and respond or react calmly, rationally, and purposefully are the ones who will learn to become leaders, free yet connected to every person, place, or thing around them. Neutrality is a choice and a skill. Cincinnatus, Episode 3, Neutrality. I talk about balance a lot with The Brave Never Fall. And I talk about it so much because it's crucial when it comes to, in my humble opinion, balancing out not only yourself, but what's going on around you. And you can look at neutrality as if it's, in some ways, people look at it like a cop-out. You are refusing to take a stand one way or the other. And that's completely not true. We can look at anything in life the way we want and put a label on it that's beneficial to how we function in life. We can look at anything and say, hey, you're an extremist. To that extremist, they're just normal, quote unquote, based on how their life is built, what's happened in their life, what's going on in their lives. So neutrality is defined by you. It's defined by your experiences, your past, your history, your future. It's defined by your decision making, who you are. What are you actively doing? What is your purpose? What are the choices you're making? What are your outcomes? Are you holding yourself accountable? These are all things that for yourself, I'm cut right down the middle. I talked about it in the previous podcast about being too introverted or too extroverted. It's the same thing here. Only the difference is this isn't a personality type. This is a skill. You may say, Coach, how is it a skill? It's a skill in this sense. Let's say you see two people arguing on the street. You walk up to them. You don't know either one. You don't even know what they're arguing about. But two people have two opposing sides, and they are clearly dug in the mud, stuck in it, and not coming out of it and saying, I'm holding my ground. I'm dug in, and I'm not budging on this point of view. Now, from the outside looking in, how do you determine who is right and who is wrong? Just by observing their body language, by stepping into an argument that has already been taking place. And they turn to you and say, hey, which one of us is right? You're not going to point to one or the other and say, I think you're right. Based on the limited amount of knowledge that I have from what I've heard, I'm just passing by. I don't even know you guys' personality. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how this started. I don't know anything. But I'm choosing to say, because I like this person a little better, because maybe they're the same skin color as me. Maybe they're in the same tax bracket as me, it appears to be. Maybe they're the same sex as me. I'm just going to go over there because that looks more aligned with who I am. So whoever you are, I think you're right. That would be one of the dumbest ways to interact with something like that. Obviously. You can't have an opinion. You don't know them. You don't know what they're talking about. You don't even know how long they've been talking about it. You don't know if they're siblings. You don't know if they're family members. You don't know if they're coworkers. You don't know anything about them. But what you could do is say, hey, whoa, slow down. I don't know either one of you. Let me hear both sides with some history attached to it. Give you guys both equal time to share with me whatever you want. And then maybe if you want my opinion, I'll give it to you then. But for now, I just want to actively listen. You're completely detached, yet you're focused. You're free, yet you're connected to engage. They're going to be far more willing to open up equally to you. They may be trying to convince you, and maybe it's a debate, but they know they're not going to sway you because you're not taking a side right off the bat. It's not about taking sides. What I love about neutrality is that it's not about taking sides. It's about listening and understanding and reacting and responding in a way that's more aligned to who you are. None of that affects the other people unless they're asking something unfairly from you based on what they're talking about. So after they spit their argument and they say, hey, now what do you think? You're still detached. You can still say, I believe person A, I heard you on this point, this point, this point. Person B, I heard you on this point, this point, this point. What I think is virtually unimportant. Would you like me to speak my opinion? If they say yes, then you're free to do it, and there's nobody's going to get hurt from that. Now, you may be dealing with some assholes who may get pissed off because they don't like your opinion, but again, you've asked them if they wanted it. So if they ask for your opinion, get pissed off about it, that is no longer your problem. Otherwise, unless someone asks your opinion, unless someone asks my opinion, I refrain from giving it. And there are people who say, well, you can be too detached. You should interject if you know they're wrong. And here's another thing about life that I like about the neutrality method is that when somebody says someone's right or wrong, that is dangerous. Because unless it's something that everybody can measure together, unless someone can say, hey, listen, 2 + 2 is 4. But if it's someone's opinion, you say, that person's wrong. No, I cannot say that. But there are things we know that somebody could be wrong about. But it can go in those weird areas like morality. Someone may say, hey, listen, I'm so mad, I think I'm going to go beat this person up. To me, they may be wrong, but to that person, it's completely justified within the grounds of their morality. Whatever was done to them, they feel like they're justified in doing what they're doing. I don't advocate violence, but that's an example. Is that person right or wrong? Who am I to say that? That's their problem. That's their business. I'm detached. If they say, hey, what do you think? I would say, I think you should give it some time and not resort to violence, because that's not going to solve anything. But if that person doesn't ask me, I'm certainly not going to be chasing that person on the street trying to get them to stop to do something that they feel is right. If they are an adult and they want to make that decision, that's on them. They're the ones who have to suffer the consequences. So the act of being able to make the decision based on the knowledge that you know, that you've actively understood, that is something about neutrality that I love. Remaining neutral in any situation is just another way of saying you're detached, but being neutral means there are sides. There are extremes. There are things that are out there that are around us that are happening, and people are dug in one way or the other. We know how people feel about politics and race in this country, in the United States. People are dug in, and that's their right to do so. That doesn't mean I have to get involved. That doesn't mean I don't have to get involved or shouldn't get involved. I want to know the truth as far as much of it as I can find. We all live in our own realities. And these things are happening all around us all the time. We are always choosing or not choosing to engage, to offer an opinion, to step into the realm of someone else's reality where they may be having issues, and we're voluntarily saying, hey, I'm going to tell you something, but once you interject that, now you're tethered. You have to be involved. Which is why I love the method of asking someone if they want your opinion versus just giving people unsolicited advice. Because I think that is we live in a world of social media where people are giving their unsolicited advice all the time. You go watch any video on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, and people are giving unsolicited advice about anything they can find on whatever subject they can find. And it doesn't matter what's going on or how many people agree. If 100 people can agree on one aspect and you have 25 people over there saying, nope, that's completely wrong. All you hundreds of people are wrong. Us 25 people are right. Where's the balance in that? How do we know that those 25 people aren't exactly right and the 100 people that are claiming they're right are completely wrong, or vice versa? We don't know. These are people's opinions. It's easy to understand why some people are so frustrated in this world when you meet them, because we already are getting overloaded with all types of news and information from social media now, which is why I always advocate that you need to detach from social media as much as you possibly can and limit your amount of knowledge you're getting from too many different sources, because it will overload your brain and your circuits will fry if you keep that up. But to be able to go into a situation and know that, hey, I'm already detached, and if the only way I'm getting involved in this situation is if I'm asked to get involved. Now, some people may say, well, how do you deal with that with family members? And again, there are always degrees. And in my experience, you can detach from anything, but obviously that detachment can only go so far. You can only detach and get so far away from things like priorities and obligations. So we can only detach so much from our children. We can only detach so much from our spouse and from our church and from our schools. If those things are, for work and our careers and whatever we're doing, there's different levels of detachment. You meet a stranger, you can completely detach. You don't know them. You don't owe them anything. You're not obligated to even look at them, let alone speak to them. But when it comes to our personal lives, that's when the skill really, really needs to be paid attention to. Because unfortunately, like the two people arguing on the street that we don't know, Those two types of people could be happening in our households or at our jobs, and we do know these people, and we have to hear it every single day. Now, the contrast between the strangers and the family life is extreme, but the thing that remains constant is the neutrality. The method is the same, the scenarios are extreme, which is another reason why I love neutrality, because it applies and can be adjusted to any situation, personal, non-personal. When it's personal, there are things involved there that the non-personal encounters do not have. And that's history, emotion, anger, love, abuse, empathy, all kinds of things, ups and downs, waves. It's heavier when it's personal. The stakes are higher. The consequences are greater. You can't just say anything. You can't just do nothing. You're forced to respond and react. This is where the skill of neutrality comes into play so much, because you can still use this to your advantage. I choose, especially dealing with personal issues, the worst thing you can do is not to understand the people you are forced to interact with every single day. I'm going to say that once again. One of the worst things you can do, may not be the worst thing, but one of the worst things you can do in any family dynamic or any work dynamic or any place where you have to show up and interact with other people, one of the worst things you can do is not have a true understanding of the people around you. If they're that close to you where you can't detach and get away from them, that's when I recommend active listening as much as possible. Even if you don't know them that well. If you're in the workplace or you're at a church and the people are talking and you're involved in conversations, understanding other people and where they're coming from and truly understanding, if you choose to be in a conversation with these people, if you choose to interact with people and you're not actively engaged and you really don't care, I would recommend you not waste those people's time, because you never know how much they're actively listening to you. And you may even feel like they're not actively listening to you when you talk, but you don't really know that. You don't know that. They don't owe you anything. You don't owe them anything. We're talking about like workplaces and places like that. But when you're coming home, some people can't detach one scenario from the other. They want to treat the strangers sometimes better than they treat the people in their house, and vice versa. And knowing who you are and staying neutral and being able to detach and say, this is a time to kind of step back and I'm going to just listen, because I'm going to be forced to make a decision here. And this is where neutrality versus detachment kind of have two different things. Because you may say, isn't neutrality and detachment, aren't they kind of the same thing? The difference between those two is that neutrality is something that there's choices to be made with that one. Detaching is just an act. What happens after the detachment? What choices are you going to make? What are the results? What are the outcomes from your detachment? Because some people detach and they shut down completely. Like literally just shut down. Their form of detachment is hands up in the air. I'm getting as far away from it as possible, and I don't want anything to do with it. There's, again, people who detach and they take a few steps back and say, I just need to step back and get a full understanding here, but I have to step back up. I have a duty and obligation to step back up, and I'm going to have to make a decision one way or the other. But I need not to go into this super overly emotional, biased, judgmental. I need to understand what this person or these people are going through as much as I possibly can, through empathy, as much as I possibly can, even if I disagree with them. Knowing why they are saying what they say is far more important than you thinking you understand why they're saying what they say. But you have people, there's always different types of people. There are people who love confrontation and people who are scared to fucking death of it. They don't want to get involved, or they want to get too overly involved. Neutrality cancels both of those out. You just want the truth from the person who is speaking, especially if you had nothing to do with what they're talking about in the first place. If somebody's coming to you and they're saying, I need you to listen to me about something, I got a problem, or whatever it is, I always shut it down immediately. Okay, slow down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back. I just want to listen. Tell me everything. And then if you want my advice afterwards, you want me to respond, I will. If you don't want it and you're just venting, you just want to spit everything out, I'm not going to judge you on it. I'm not going to hate you for it. I'm not going to say you're right or wrong. You have a right to believe whatever you want to believe as long as it doesn't affect my life. But if you ask me my opinion and my advice and I give it to you and you don't like it, that's on you. Because I'm giving you the option now to make your choice. Now, what if you're talking about things where you're so close to it where you need to say something anyway? The requirements of active listening do not fade away just because you are obligated to say something. And this is where the leaders come into play. When you're a leader, you have to say something. When you're a parent, you have to say something. But it's not a power struggle. It's not something that you sit on your high horse and look down on people with. We have to speak and understand others in ways that we want them to speak and understand of us. So unless you want someone to do that exact same way, that method of not really actively listening to you and not truly trying to understand you, unless there's something you want coming your way, think about your methods and the way you speak to people and how much you are actively trying to understand people when they are speaking to you. People are so quick to want to listen to respond. They want to finish your sentences. They want to finish your thoughts. Being a leader, that is unacceptable. Being a parent, that is unacceptable. We have to allow people to, if they're being respectful, we'll get on that in a moment. But if you allow people at an early age to understand that is your temperament, people will approach you differently from the jump. That was a huge mistake I made when I was younger. I was quick always to listen to respond. I'm better. I'm smarter. I know I got the answer. Serves no one well. It just leads to an unwarranted argument, disagreement that goes absolutely nowhere because neither one of the parties involved have listened and understood shit. They haven't understood anything about the other person. It's all about them. And if that's the case, after I thought about it for years, I'm like, if that's the case, then what is the point of entering the argument at all if nothing is resolved and we didn't hear a word or understood anything that the other person said or what they're going through? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of emotion. It's a waste of thoughts. It's a waste of a bond. It's a waste of opportunity. It's a waste of growth. It serves nothing to do that. And then when I learned how to say, I no longer will argue with people if I can help it. Now, we are human beings and emotion and anger rises in us at all times. We are constantly trying to fight that back. But it's all about discipline. Like anything in life, neutrality is about discipline. When you know you have to detach and step back and say, listen, as much as I want to go off on this person and tell them how wrong they are, because I know that they're wrong and I don't like what they're doing, this and this, what good does it do if the person doesn't understand why you're saying what you're saying? Who we are to other people, our temperament, how we go about life dictates those outcomes. Because we have a choice. If somebody is not respecting you, if somebody's coming to you with disrespect, shut that shit down immediately. No matter what's going on, if someone's disrespecting you, there is no conversation to be had. They have forfeited their right to talk to you if they are disrespectful. Because they are disrespecting not only you, but they're disrespecting everything that you know, that they know they wouldn't want you just to come out of nowhere against them with. They wouldn't want that same method applied to them if you had a problem. Nobody likes someone to just come up to them and start disrespecting them. But when people start getting in their emotions and they start feeling like they're justified in what they can say, they have some kind of power trip, they feel like they can talk down, they feel like they can judge, they can feel like they can get inside of their feelings and they're justified in it because something happened to them and it's unfair. it didn't go the way that they thought, or they're mad. So what? Boo-hoo. Speak respectfully. Treat people with respect. And if there's no respect there is literally no conversation to be had. And that can even go to your children. My son knows zero disrespect. There will not be any there because I'm not disrespecting him. So there's no reason for him to talk to me or his mother disrespectfully. And I deal with this all the time with my family and my friends. If somebody talks to me disrespectfully, I don't get mad. I just shut it down. I won't talk to you. When you're ready to come with me with respect, then I'm ready to actively listen to understand. And offer my opinion, my advice, if I have to. Because I want that person that I'm talking to, I want to feel like I can come to you and you can do that for me. I want to feel like I can come to you with respect and you're going to actively listen to understand. And if I ask you for advice or your opinion, that you're going to give it back to me with respect. I don't want to feel like I can come to you and then I'm going to get talked down to because you think I'm quote unquote stupid because I didn't figure this out soon enough, or I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. Who wants to go to someone who is not going to actively listen, show zero empathy, and not even attempt to be respectful? All of that is part of a healthy conversation. When you talk to people, you're not talking to them in a debate style. It's a conversation. Dialogue. That's all it is. It's a conversation. You notice this all the time. Do you know someone that is always talking to people a certain way, in a certain tone, in a certain manner, but they will talk to other people in a different tone, in a different manner? But the people that they're talking to, let's say with a different tone, a different manner, and they're talking very nicely, they're talking to people that don't even deserve to be talked to that way. They're showing people who they have no obligation to show respect to at all, respect. And the people they should be respecting, just because they have a comfort factor with them, or they feel like they can talk down to them, they feel like they know enough about them where they can get away with this behavior, they'll talk to them like they don't even matter. These are choices. This is not a disorder. These are choices that individual is making. They're telling you a lot about yourself and how they believe their relationship is with you. But here's the problem. We can't blame them for that. They have a right to talk to people however they wish to talk to. They're talking to you like that, one way or the other, because that's how they feel they can talk to you, based on the way their conversations with you have always gone. When they were disrespectful, you didn't shut the shit down. So they're going to continue talking to you disrespectful. When you've come to them, maybe you were disrespectful. And now they have a defensive edge to them because they feel like every time you come to them, there's a chance you may be disrespectful. Now just flip that around. What if you treated people with respect all the time? There's no one outside of a couple of people who are close family members who are inherently disrespectful and don't know how to talk to people, but talk to other people they don't know as if they owe them all the respect in the world. And I limit my dialogue. I limit my conversations with them. I'm obligated to talk to them almost every day, but I limit my dialogue with them because I don't want to talk to someone who has the capability of turning on the disrespect switch when it suits them, and then aiming and focusing their disrespect like a laser because they have a chip on their shoulder to people they know they can get away with it with, because no matter what, this person has to show up tomorrow. That's bullshit. But there's levels. You can shut it down. I always go back to this. You talk to someone with respect from Jump Street. If you're nice, and you're simple, and you're listening to understand, and you give people the opportunity to talk, and you really care, and you really want to listen to them. You do that for enough time, even if you were the other way. Believe me, I was not like this. I was the opposite direction. I was always about confrontation, and I'm right when I was younger, 20 years younger. And I've learned that got me nowhere. Nobody likes that. You just come off like an asshole. You have zero empathy, and who wants to be around someone like that? Who wants to talk to someone like that? People say, I'm a nice person. Behind closed doors, they're not. You want to be nice? Be nice. You have empathy? Show it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Do it every day. Make it discipline. It's just discipline. It's a skill. You don't always have to take such an extreme side one way or the other. There is a place right in the middle where you can say, I will choose to go to each side organically, naturally, when I have all that I need knowledge-wise, when I feel emotionally aligned with it, then I'll go to a side. But I might not stay there. I'm probably going to come back to the middle again. That's the easy life. That's the simple life. That's you saying, my neutral is based upon this. Again, we all have a different neutral. I guess you can look at the neutrality for yourself as almost like just your basic morals and principles, your boundaries in life. This is where I'm going to retreat back to. This is my home. This is my safe place. And I can do what I need to do here. And you can't affect me. And that's one thing I love about it, is that once I learn how to do that, I stop giving a damn if somebody treats me disrespectfully. If somebody talks to me disrespectfully, I have nothing to prove. I just won't talk to you. Eventually, that person is going to stop trying to talk to you disrespectfully because there's no one to talk to. And the people who are talking respectfully, you've gained a new ally. You've gained a new friend. You've grown and solidified a relationship with a family member, a friend, or a coworker, a churchgoer. All because you have the ability to listen, and the person that you're talking to has that same ability as well. That's why we always say, surround yourself with people who are like-minded. If you are an aggressive, loudmouth asshole who is disrespecting people, you're not going to have many people who have empathy and actively listen to you and have the patience and the understanding enough to want to continue being disrespected by you. They owe you nothing. But we cannot get what we're not giving. That's what I had to learn. If I wanted respect in this world, I had to be able to do it to everyone. I have to be able to give respect. And the reason why that's so important is because we cannot bitch and moan about our lifestyles if we're not doing the parts in our lifestyles, in our lives in general, to get the outcomes and the friendships and the careers that we want based on things we know we need to work on, but we're saying, good enough. And I'm angry and I'm mad about it because it's not better. So I'm going to take it out on everyone else. I've made bad decision here, bad decision there. I had a little success here, but I didn't act firmly enough with it. So now I'm backpedaling. I'm going to make judgments and assumptions about people, places, and things because I'm not where I want to be at in my life. There are things I'm at. When life is good for yourself, you don't have time for all that shit. You're too busy living in your purpose, living through your purpose. You're too busy leading by example. You're too busy listening and understanding other people to be mad and upset and pissed off and judgmental and biased and egotistical and narcissistic. If you're living in your purpose and you're recreating your life and you're with the people that matter in your life and you are really truly listening to understand and you are really truly not judging people and you're not trying to shove unsolicited advice down people's throat left and right, you're not worried about all this. Your life is fine. You're focused on yourself. You're too focused on what is important. The things that are purposeful in your life. Those things take up precedence over being angry and pissed off and treating people disrespectfully. There's no time to be engaged in a disrespectful conversation when you're living through purpose. When you know what you have to do each day. That's neutrality. Is retreating back to who you are and you go in the direction you need to go in when it is requested and required. And that is being a leader. That is self-love and that is self-worth. Pledge with me. I am the strongest person I know. I am alive for a reason. I pledge to stand on my values. I pledge to set and reinforce healthy boundaries. I pledge to keep pushing forward. I am not a victim. I am not without purpose. I pledge to continue to create the life I want. I pledge to grow beyond my current self. I pledge to commit to myself unconditionally, because I am the strongest person I know. I will always be the strongest person I know. I pledge to continue to create, and if need be, recreate the blueprint of my life. I pledge to accept and face any challenge and obstacle that comes my way, because I am the strongest person I know. I pledge I will remain who I am, here and now, and going forward, because I am the strongest person I know. This is your day. You are here now. These are your moments. You own them. You are brave, bold, powerful. You do believe in yourself. You know you have more in the tank. You know the glass is half full. There's still more room for improvement. There is no end. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that you can do whatever it takes to accomplish whatever you want from life. You don't procrastinate. You don't embellish. You don't lie. You are true to yourself always. Knowledge is in your mind. Peace is in your heart. Balance is in your body. Purpose is in your soul. You are greatness. The sky is not the limit. You have purpose, fulfilling, intentful purpose. You are here for a reason. You are unique. You are self-love, self-discipline, self-respect, self-control. You have self-awareness. You are joy, peace, and happiness. You are freedom, and yet connected to every person, place, and thing in the universe. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.